My mom and I are meeting next week to discuss something she claims I've done that has deeply hurt her, but she won't reveal what it is, and I'm grappling with how to manage this. There seems to generally be pretty solid advice on here, so I'm going to present you with my current issue. I apologize for how ridiculously long it is. I have never been one for three-word sentences, and I think the background information is really important to get the whole picture, though I'm generally not going into details of specific events. My mom, 58, has a big heart and generally good intentions. She was a single parent to myself and my two, 30, 33 brothers. They are both bachelors, whereas I have a child, 2.5 years, and am in a committed relationship. I'm the youngest of the three. I am the only child that has never moved back home for an extended period of time once I moved out at 18. I have asked for help from time to time, but I mostly try to fend for myself. Ultimately, I'm very independent and don't rely on my mom the way my brothers have throughout their lives. I feel that my mom is a lot more critical of me than my brothers. She tends to baby them. My family is not receptive when I share my feelings, and they do not respect my boundaries. My brothers put mom on a pedestal. One says I can't ever make certain foods because it's not how mom makes it, not in an endearing way either, like I'm literally not allowed to, and he's mean to me about it. And they have trouble talking with me about anything that isn't superficial. My whole family is very resistant to change or anything different. Heaven forbid I put something healthy, like vegetables, into a dish or try to expose them to different types of food. And they subsequently make unhealthy choices with food, hobbies, etc. then complain about their lives/bodies/relationships. Don't get me wrong. It's their life and they can live it the way they want, but it's hard when I have to collaborate with them about things. All they want to do is eat CRPPY food and watch TV and complain. Never be physical or change anything up. I strive to learn and try new things, and they're opposite, to say the least. It's not about the food, although it looks that way, lol, but more about them being set in their ways that bothers me. They tend to still treat me like a child, being patronizing and jokingly condescending, despite not being educated on the issues they're being immature about. And they expect me to just ignore or accept their actions, which admittedly, I did when I was a kid. It was the only way to cope. In fact, my mom was the one that said just to ignore my brothers, not actually deal with the problem. My family is very non-confrontational and will ignore problems out of fear. I've now grown into a strong and intelligent young woman and am not afraid to face issues. I have been through a lot and gained a lot of experience, emotionally and mentally, and taken responsibility for my behavior as much as I can over the years. I've learned to recognize when someone's projecting their own feelings or unresolved issues. This is something my mom does excessively. Her default emotion is anger, and she lashes out at those around her. She always has, but it's gotten worse over time. She is a mild version of the parents on /r/ raised by narcissists. Self-absorbed and consistently martyrs and victimizes herself, and my brothers enable it. As an aside, my extended family sees what I see in regards to my mom's behavior. Because I feel like I've grown so much as a person in the last few years, sometimes it's hard to be around this kind of behavior because I feel that it is very counterproductive to actually living a happy and fulfilled life, which everyone seemingly wants. I love my mom, I love my family, and I usually just smile it off and vent afterwards. I realize that I am biased in my view towards her because there has been some resentment built over time of the choices she's made that have negatively affected me and/or my child, MC. When MC was a baby, my mom constantly praised my parenting choices and techniques. But now that MC is older and I am confident as a parent, my mom seems to resent me and is very strangely disconnected from MC, her only grandchild. She doesn't help me or get excited over MC the way your average grandparent does. Some of my friends have speculated that she is jealous, that I have the opportunity and awareness to be a more mindful parent than she was, and this is how she is acting out. I don't know if that's the case, but I have noticed that she has some weird jealousy issues. I don't trust her with MC because she has a tendency to be very controlling over trivial things, and she doesn't shy away from light, physical abuse, smacking a hand, grabbing MC aggressively, for example, and yelling is a default way for her to communicate. As someone who was raised in this environment, I am trying my damnedest not to yell or use fear tactics to parent MC because I know that it's not a healthy way to parent. I'm happy to say that I've been doing a pretty good job so far, but it hasn't been easy. Despite the fact that I'm a single parent, I've never allowed her to babysit, and she's never really expressed interest in doing so. My mom is someone who will drive very fast and recklessly even with her newborn grandchild in the car, and if I say anything, she would be incredibly insulted. She will demand MC hug her, and if MC doesn't want to, manipulate her by acting hurt and acting like a child herself. I teach MC body consent, that her body belongs to her and no one else, and that she can say no. One week after major surgery on my abdomen, my mom made me walk 3 blocks to her car because she didn't want the inconvenience of having to U-turn into traffic out of the hospital pickup lane, despite staples in my stomach and explicit doctor's orders that I shouldn't be walking. The issue, I think, will explain below. My mom currently cares for 2 kids, a teenage girl, 16, TG, and a young boy, 7, YB. They are both relatively good kids, but given their circumstances of why they are in care in the first place, have had a tough life thus far. Given what the alternatives would be, my mom is 100 times better than their previous situations. Despite this, her parenting techniques have not changed or grown over the course of decades. As someone who is getting paid to care for these children, she is very out of touch with healthy childhood development and is very old school, despite the reality that they need even more care because of their experiences so far. They need more tenderness, more understanding, more education. Instead, she flips out over the most mundane things and seethes for hours or even days. My mom has a sharp tongue and resents TG and can be abrasive and rude to her. She expects her to clean without being asked, absolutely freaks out if she doesn't turn off lights, was mad at her for 3 days because she got less than a cubic inch of hair dye on the bathroom cabinet, and just gets annoyed with her day-to-day. I've tried to remind my mom that she's just a teenager, that my mom's job is to be patient and remind her of these things and help her instead of making it about her own feelings. That TG isn't an adult or equal partner in her household. In fact, she's someone who has already had a traumatic life. I remind her that I was a little SHD when I was a teenage girl, and that's how teenagers are. I really feel for this young woman and think she has an incredible head on her shoulders. She is pretty wonderful. So, a couple of months back, MC and I were at my mom's for dinner. My mom started freaking out at YB because he was playing with his food or something. She sent him to his room. Drama ensued. Eventually, he came out and apparently was whispering weird things to TG. You're a BTCH, die. Keep in mind these kids come from a messed up dynamic, and my mom expected TG to deal with it, pretty much to parent him. At the time, I didn't say anything. My mom clearly favors YB over TG. This is where, I think, the issue is. Later, I was giving MC a bath and invited TG to talk with me while I did. I really like her. We put on the fan to mute any sounds. I asked her about her life, learn more about her. I told her that my mom's anger issues are not hers to carry, and that she shouldn't be responsible for parenting YB. That I hope she can find a way to cope and differentiate between her own issues and the ones my mom is projecting onto her. That I know my mom yells, she always has, and that she has a lot of unresolved things she has trouble dealing with. This young woman has so much potential, and I don't want my mom to hinder that. In a roundabout way, I just kept reiterating that it's not TG's fault, she is doing great, and to just keep growing and learning. She was really receptive, and it felt really good to have a one-on-one conversation with her. I was really happy with how that conversation ended. After we got out of the bathroom, I noticed that my mom had completely shut down and would not talk to me. She goes into business mode when she's mad. She was withdrawn and cleaning obsessively. As I am not afraid of confrontation, I asked her, Mom, what's up? You're not acting like yourself. Mom, nothing. Okay, come on. I know you better than that. Something is bothering you. Mom, you're right, I am extremely angry at you. But I'm not telling you why. I can't help you if you are unable to talk to me. It's not my job to figure out your emotions if you are unwilling to share them. That's something you need to work on. Granted, this was a little too direct, but I have been dealing with this for so long. Mom, that's something you need to work on. Okay, working on things isn't a bad thing. I do work on myself every single day, but I can't work on something if I don't know what it is. Mom. Then I just gave her space. Now, as per the above conversation, I don't know if she was eavesdropping on my conversation with TG. Hell, she could be mad because I didn't do the dishes, or because I invited TG into bathroom with me and not her, or because I didn't want to be dishonest about returning a teapot to IKEA to save a few bucks. Seriously, that's a whole other thing. So we got ready to leave. She refused to say goodbye, and wouldn't even say goodbye to MC. I can't stress enough. Her only grandchild who is completely innocent in this whole situation. She just sat on the couch and TG gave us hugs and walked us out. It was super weird. This was back in the beginning of January. As I grow really weary of always having to extend the olive branch and subsequently enabling her self-victimization, I didn't try to contact her, much to my spouse's dismay. She is the only family we have in the country. On January 25th, she texted me asking when she could get back the TV that she borrowed me. I said anytime, whenever I am seeing you next. Then she asked when I would pay back some money I owe her, about $50, and again, I said anytime. I was still pretty set off and was annoyed that again, the real issue was being ignored. I told her that I still don't know why she's harboring resentment against me, and that we can't work through it until she's ready to share it. She ignored that part and talked about the money. I asked her if she was going to avoid the real issue. She said she will email me. Over a month later, no email. I sent her a few pictures of MC, and she said thank you, and to give her a hug for me. This brings us to today. I'm tired of the whole silent treatment thing. I text her. Me, hello. I love you. Mom, I love you too, and I'll never stop loving you, but you hurt me. Me, we can't work through this unless we communicate about what's bothering you. I miss you and MC misses you. Mom, I have tried to email you, but I always draw a blank since there is too much to say. Me, then let's get together to talk. Can we do that? Mom, I do not want to go to a public place. I do not want to cry in public. This has been hurting me for a long time. Me, Michu. I felt completely in the dark about something that's happened that you're hurting about. I have no idea what's going on. Come over, and we'll talk about it in private. Mom, I am not free right now. Me, well, not right this second, as I am at work. But soon. Come over for dinner. Then we organized a meeting for next week. I know this whole post has been hella long and really cathartic, because I didn't want to leave anything out, and a part of me is even unsure about why I am reaching out to my fellow Redditors. I guess I am asking if anyone has any advice on how to handle this, keep my cool, in some ways that I can approach her without her shutting down or getting angry with me right away, not to mention any suggestions anyone can offer moving forward in the future. As she won't even tell me what's bothering her, I have no way of preparing. I could totally be in the wrong and be doing something terrible and not even know it. Right now I'm preparing myself for the conversation I had with TG, but it could be completely unrelated. It could be because I haven't returned her TV or something. Maybe she feels taken for granted? I have no idea. I'm so frustrated, and the multiple times I've asked, she won't budge. I love her so much. We used to be really close when I was young. I don't want to hurt her, but I also don't want to enable her victimization. I want to take responsibility for my issues, but I'm not taking responsibility for hers. I've tried so hard over the years to help her with her stuff, but she just makes the same decisions over and over. This sounds harsh, but I already have the responsibility of helping one person recognize and regulate their feelings, MC. I shouldn't have to do that for a grown woman. And this whole silent treatment is not what I want either. My spouse is from a country on the other side of the world, and if we have any more children, mine will be the only family they really know. That is really important to us. Brothers, I don't know if you're Redditors and if you've stumbled upon this and recognize it. If you're reading this, please talk to me. We both know that we're very different, but we love each other all the same. I don't blame you if you're mad at me. I feel very alone within our family sometimes, and I don't want to shoulder this by myself. We can have such a close relationship if we want to, because we're good people with love in our hearts. TLDR, my mom, who has a lot of unresolved issues, is mad at me about something but won't tell me what it is. I don't know how to prepare. Edit, just an FYI, I don't let her drive with my child in the car for over 2 years now, and I'm very vocal about my parenting choices and that they need to be respected. My child is my priority. Edit 2. It just dawned on me what the best thing to do is. Thank you so much for all of your responses. They helped bring me the clarity that I need. And I apologize for not commenting earlier. For some reason I can't submit comments from my work computer, so I am doing this from my phone. I think my best course of action when we meet is to lay down my boundaries and expectations. She is under the impression that she'll be telling me all the ways I hurt her, in which I will listen to and be relatively receptive to. But then I will express my own frustrations, the boundaries with my child, the lack of respect, the reckless driving, the lack of support, the allowance of my brothers being diuche, etc., and stipulate that she needs to listen to what I have to say, even if she doesn't like it. I will say that in order for us to establish a healthy and reasonable relationship, she needs to pursue counseling long-term, and I will help her find resources. She needs to not expect to parent my child. She will not yell or swear in me or my child's presence, nor will I allow her to be verbally abusive in my presence. I will not force any of this on her. She may take it that way, but tell her that these are my boundaries as an individual and as a parent. I will also recommend joint counseling for us, and maybe even my brothers. If any of this is not respected, I will have no choice but to limit our contact. This isn't the first time I've had to do this. She said some pretty sensationalist and negative things about fearing that my spouse would kidnap me because he's from a Muslim country. Yeah. And I told her that the only relationship that is in jeopardy with that kind of mentality is hers and mine. She apologized and hasn't brought it up again. Thank you so much again. You all help me work through the emotional side of things to establish what is the most productive way to handle this. If anyone would care for an update, I can post one after it happens. Wish me luck.